Hello, this is Steve Miller. In this tutorial, we will talk about iOS signing an app from a tester's perspective so that you satisfy, which if you ever run into this message, the app must be signed with a development identity, IE, an iOS developer. And with that, we'll use Xcode, and it can be any newer version than Xcode 5.11, and we'll see the reason why. And then in this video, I use Appium 1.4. This is really, honestly, the one video that I wish I would have had when I started doing Appium testing, because this is the place that I spent a lot of time trying to figure out and work through so I could have a consistent way to sign apps as a tester, i.e. iOS developer, so that they would properly load with Appium for part of the testing. So as we go through the prerequisites is definitely that you have Appium installed, and also if you're unfamiliar with having your certificates, your app identifier, your iOS profile, and then also your iOS development provisioning profile, go back. I have 4 different videos that cover that step by step, or you could also just walk through the blog step by step. And obviously you will need to have an active iPhone developer account. If you don't, you can sign up for one. Currently they cost $99, and you can go to developer.apple.com. During this video, we're actually going to use the sample code for doing Appium tests. So actually, if you go out, there is this sample iOS app that Isaac Murchie, if I said it right, he developed this, and this is supposed to help you practice like filling in a box, moving labels around, pop-ups. And so we're going to take this app and we're going to re-sign it. And then we're going to load it up onto a device, and we're going to do that through Appium. And to do that, you'll need a current version of Xcode, and then you'll also need to download Xcode 5.11. And that will be critical here because it is one of the key tools that enable us to do this. And with that, when you install Xcode, you'll have the command line tools, your iPhone developer program, and have already created an iOS provisioning profile with your certificate, bundle ID, and device. On this one, I'm using an iPad mini. We will use Appium 1.40. And on this one, I'm going to use an iPhone 5S with iOS 8.3. So to begin, go ahead and open up Appium 1.4, a terminal, Xcode 6 or newer, Xcode 5.1, and then open up a web browser so you can follow along with the step-by-step tutorial. Before we get started, I want to talk about the app a little bit more. So I'm screen sharing on the right-hand side. I'm going to go ahead. I have it on an iPhone 5S. This app is part of a collection of sample code that is available on GitHub. And the nice thing with it is it has many different languages, everything from .NET to Ruby, and the etc. It allows you to even add more and contribute to this. So we're going to use one of the iOS apps, this test app, for part of our testing here. So this is going to be the app that we're going to sign. And after you've signed it and you've pushed it onto your phone like I did here through Appium, then you can continue with that and use this app to test and calculate and validate and work through some of those things that you wanted to practice through Appium. So we'll go back here. So what I want you to do is go ahead and go out to the github.com/Appium sample code. And you can, right over here in the lower right hand corner, we're going to clone this repository. So then go ahead and click copy. And then I want you to go ahead and open up Terminal. And if you do a PWD, you should see users, your username. So inside that, I suggest that you make a folder Dented Ghost. And if you've followed any of my other videos, you'll already have that folder, or create a folder that works for you. So to create that directory, go ahead and go mkdir Dented Ghost. And if you've already had that directory, skip this step. Then go cd space Dented Ghost. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say git clone, and then what we can do is go edit, paste, and what we should have here is github.com/appium/sample-code.git, and then go ahead and hit enter. And then this will pull down a copy of the repository. And to verify, just go ahead and go ls, and you should have a folder there now called sample code. Now what we're going to do is open up that test app within that sample code, and we're going to do that in Xcode. So open up Xcode 6 or newer. I'm using 6.3.2. So go ahead and open up Xcode, and then go File, Open. And what we want to do is we want to go to the location where we have the sample code. So once you find the sample code, then inside of that there's another folder called sample code. Underneath that there's two folders, apps and examples, and we actually want apps. Then here's a list of the apps, and specifically what we want is we want the test app. So go down to the test app, and then we're going to open up the test app Xcode project. So select testapp.xcode proj, and then click open. And after it'll process, say, indexing for a little bit. And this is what we'll see after it's done indexing. You can come over here on test app and click there. Now that we see it pop up, you'll see that we have a Generals tab, a Capabilities tab, Info, Build Settings, Build Phases, Build Rules. Another really key piece here is that you will have two areas. You'll have the target, and then you'll have the project. And the project then has Info and also Build Settings. We're going to go ahead and use both. But for now, what I want you to do is I want you to be at General and on the target of the test app. What you'll see here is you'll see the bundle identifier. Okay, so this bundle identifier is the same bundle identifier that when you go under identifiers, Apple IDs, and when we created the Apple ID, that Apple ID is our bundle identifier. So one of the previous blogs, I created one for me, and that's com.dentedghost.testapp. So for you, if you haven't already, go back to the video or go into iOS app IDs and create a bundle ID, and I would suggest it is com dot something unique, whatever is unique for you, dot test app. Now what we want to do is update the bundle identifier to the bundle identifier that we created. If you highlight this, you'll notice that it's kind of grayed out over here for test app. if you click on info, you get a little more information. So the bundle identifier that is displayed here is actually generated here. So it is io.appium, which is text, but then what they do is they take the test app name, which is the product name, and see if I can pull this over here. Okay, and they auto-fill it in. If by chance you happen to, if by chance you happen to call yours something other than test app, then actually in here I would suggest taking the whole thing and then just replacing it. For now, you can replace it here, but I found sometimes it's a little tricky when it autofills. So let's just go to where info is and update the first piece, which would be com dot, then your unique identifier that you had in the middle. So mine is going to be dented ghost, and then click back on general. So now the bundle identifier is updated to com.dentedghost.testapp. What you'll see here is that you'll see there's no matching provisional profile found, and it says you could click here to fix issue. But we can fix it here by clicking on where team is and then choosing which will be your login into your Apple developer account, and you'll see that that error then goes away. Now we're looking at the deployment information. So in the deployment information, there's two main pieces. There's the deployment target, and then there's the specific device, which you can either do iPhone, iPad, or also choose universal. But to get our deployment target, what we need to do is get the iOS version on the device that we're going to deploy this to. To do that, you can go to your phone or your tablet and then go to settings, and then underneath settings choose general, and in general choose about. And then if you page down through there, you'll see version. This version here is what we want to replace here. So I have 8.3 there. I'm going to go ahead and choose 8.3. I will be doing the initial testing on an iPhone, so I'm going to choose iPhone. One thing that you want to do to prevent an error or get some weird thing like, hey, device not found or device not listed, is to go back and ensure that the device that you're going to deploy here is listed as one of your devices in your developer account. And you can do that by going to apple.com. Now the funny thing is, while I'm recording, actually developer.apple.com is not working, so I'll just show you off the blog. And so go to developer.apple.com, click on devices. You'll see a list of those devices, and then you can validate again through Xcode by just ensuring that that one right here is the UDID of the device or devices that you're going to register. If by chance you had just recently added a new device, you would have to regenerate your provisioning profile and add those devices there. So you can always download an updated version of your provisioning profile, and you can do that by going to the development.apple.com and then going down to development, clicking on development, then choose your development provisioning profile, click edit. And what that will allow you to do is if you added a new device, you can just click on those new devices, save it, and download it like you had previously done. So just some helpful tidbits just to make sure that that you're set when you go through this process of signing a device. Now we're going to focus on code signing target. To do that, what we'll want to do is go to the build settings. So we have test app target, And then we're going to go over to build settings. And then what we'll do is I'll have you page down until you see code signing. So then once you've identified the code signing section, then you're going to pull down and you're going to choose your iPhone developer identity, which is listed in the keychain. And you're going to have that for all of the code signing. Underneath the provisional profile, you're going to pull down and you're going to choose your development provisional profile, which should be your development Appium test app provisioning profile or similar, depending on how you created it. And you notice there's another one. Again, Xcode will auto-generate additional provisioning profiles. We can ignore that for now and just choose the development one that we had created. Now we want to switch to deployment target project. So again, we come back here and we go to project and make sure we clicked on info. Again, also update this to the same that you updated before. So for mine, it was 8.3. Then I'm going to have you click on build settings. And you'll also find a section for code signing. We're going to do the same here, and you're going to choose your iPhone developer. And you're going to also choose it for the other ones. So you're going to replace all of them until they say iPhone developer. Underneath the provisioning profile, you will once again choose your development Appium test development provisioning profile. Another thing that I have found helpful for creating a reliable iOS code signing for testing with Appium is to actually update your managed schemes, so that what you'll do is you'll update all your build configurations to point to debug instead of having some of them actually point to release. So to do that, go ahead and click on Xcode, then go to product, down to schemes, and you should have your test app selected. Then click on edit scheme. And what I'm going to have you do is go down to each one that currently says release and change it to debug. So what you should end up with is debug for each one of these. And then you can go ahead and just click close. And you will have updated your scheme so that each one is now updated to debug. Now we're going to build the app. To build the app, one of the first things is go ahead and select the real iOS device that you're going to deploy to. Then go select product, pull down to clean. Just kind of ensures that everything goes smoothly, and then we'll have you go product build. So now what I want you to do is go ahead and choose your specific device. Then go to product, clean, and you'll get clean succeeded. And then go product, build. And if you look up here, oh, you may even get a prompt. So if you get any prompt, go ahead and click, say always allow, or allow, your choice. And then you'll get the test app succeeded. Now we want to create an archive, which will create an IPA file, which will be the file that we will, through Appium, upload onto our device. And then from that, we can run our Appium commands to automate the app. So to do this, what you'll do is you go to Product, Archive. So go Product, Archive. And then you'll get a pop-up and it will show you that the archive was created. So the archive was created today. Now, if you were a developer, you would then go from here and say export. But what happens is with Xcode 6 and newer, the export function no longer allows you to actually specify your provisioning profile. And what it will do is it will auto assign and create another provisioning. You'll see this like typically like an ad hoc provisioning profile, and you end up signing it as a distribution, not a development. So if someone can find a way to actually do it in Xcode 6, that would be great. Through this tool, please share it with me, and then I can share it with others. But for now, what I found is after you have archived the app, is then to go ahead and use Xcode 5.1 to distribute it, because Xcode 5.1 does provide you the ability to choose the specific development provisioning profile so that you can properly sign it. If you haven't already, make sure that you install Xcode 5.11. I have the link at the top, or the other thing that you can do is go to Google and type Xcode, search 4-5-6, and that will bring up the Stack Overflow, which has how to download Xcode 4, 5, and 6. And this provides an updated list of older versions of Xcode, so you can directly link to them. And I'm going to have you go ahead and download 5.11. Once that's installed, go ahead and come back and we'll continue. Now I'm going to have you open up Xcode 5.11. Make sure that you have that version. You can have multiple versions of Xcode up. You can always click About, so you have the correct version. And it will pull in the information that you have from the previous build. So now what I want you to do is go to Window, Organizer, go to Window, and then click on Organizer. Then click on Archives, and you'll see the archive that you created in the previous Xcode. Then click on Distribute. And what we're going to choose here is that we're going to go ahead and choose Save for Enterprise or Ad Hoc Deployment. Then click Next. And underneath the provisioning profile, I'm going to have you choose your development provisioning profile. Then click Export. And then I'll have you save it and go ahead and save it to the location where you had created the directory structure. So I'll minimize the sample and I'll just save it there so we're in the same location. Go ahead and click Save. Now that we have saved and properly signed the file, we can go back to Terminal, and in the folder that you saved it, go ahead and say ls, and now you should see something that looks just like this, testapp.ipa. Now go ahead and start, if you already haven't, or pull up Appium 1.4. One big, huge piece really is that as of 1.40, it might be a little bit before, it no longer uses Fruitstrap to actually install the app onto the device, and it is much more reliable. So I highly suggest that you actually use 1.4 or greater when working with this to prevent having some errors. So with Appium, I want you to go ahead, and since we're working specifically with iOS, click on the Apple for the configurations or the iOS settings. And what we're going to go do is we're going to choose the IPA file and select the test app IPA. Now, one thing that I'm going to have you do is actually go edit, copy, and we're going to paste that path into the bundle ID, and go edit, paste. And then uncheck the app path. You could have obviously copied it in one step, but I find this. So what we're going to do here, since we're running on a real device, is have the bundle ID actually be the app path. Now, if you haven't, or if you forgot, what we need to do is we need to go ahead and get the UDID from the phone. And to do that, you can go to Window, Devices, and then that's going to pull up this screen. Choose your specific device, and where it says identifier, copy that, and then go ahead and paste that here in the UDID. After pasting, make sure again that you have the UDID selected. Choose the platform version or iOS version, and then make sure that you choose force device. The name inside of this doesn't matter, but you can have it map up to the same name that is specifically on the phone. So I could actually go ahead and either say like Steven's phone or iPhone. I'll just simply leave it iPhone for now. Now to save it, click back on the Apple. Always confirm that it is saved the way that you want. And for demonstration purposes, we're going to actually check and make sure that the pre-launch application is checked. So then go ahead and click off of that. And then we are just about ready to start. So now, if you haven't already, go ahead and plug in your specific device that you are going to install the app on. And once that device has been installed, then come back here and click on launch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the app. And so the app now has been removed. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on launch. And this may take a little while. And you can see right now it's logging, setting up. And now it says the app is not installed, and it will try to install the app. So installing the IPA found at the user dentedghost.test app. And now you can see the app is installed on the device. And so it's going to continue to work. We did check the pre-launch, so it will work through to actually launch the app in addition to it. So there, the app is now launched. And at this point, then we could run our Appium test against the app. In addition to just opening the app, we can actually go ahead and click on Inspector. Down here, and then what we can do is find a specific element. So we can work through we could walk all the way through till we find the element, or click on the element. So this element has the name integer a. We can actually come down here underneath texts, and we can just go ahead and say hello and click send keys. And through Appium, back through the app, we were able to actually send keys. So we were able to, all the way from the iOS signing, is to take a pre-existing app, re-sign it, or you could have built a new app, sign it, then load it using Appium, and launch that app throughout with the help of Appium. So those are the basics. These are the steps that I have found the most reliable as a way to take an app, sign it as a tester, and then be able to run my Appium against it. I hope that was helpful for you. I do welcome your feedback. If you have found a better way of doing that, please share it with me. Thanks.